Hi, everybody. This is Joshua Dunlop, co-founder of NewMaker Financial, and I just wanted to chat a little bit about a misconception that I hear when it comes to estate planning. And that misconception is kind of twofold. One, that only people who have a lot of assets are going to need estate planning, and two, estate planning is extremely expensive. Now, estate planning is one of the most important things you can do, and it's one of the things that's most universally needed by our clients. But a lot of times people don't have a very good understanding of what an estate plan is or when they need one. And that's what this video is all about. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to be giving legal advice. My wife's an attorney, and she would personally kill me if I gave any legal advice. So this video is more going to be about my years of experience in the financial field and some of the things that I learned about estate planning and why it's important. Now, the first misconception that I've seen a lot is that only rich people need estate planning. Now, I think that that's true if you're thinking about giant things like trusts, but estate plans involve a lot more than just where assets go. For instance, there's a lot in terms of medical directives that estate planning has that is going to take some of the burden off of your family when and if you end up in an incapacitated situation. So let's talk about these different types of estate planning tools that don't need assets for you to have a lot of money in order to need them. For instance, there's a living will. Now, a living will is going to tell everybody what your wishes are if you're ever incapacitated. We also have powers of attorney, both for medical and financial. Now, this is really important because if you think about you going into a hospital or God forbid, you're in a situation where you're incapacitated, your family's going to need to make a lot of decisions on your behalf. Bills are still going to need to get paid, especially important bills like life insurance. Those are still going to need to get paid. And if no one has the ability to go into your account if you're incapacitated, or make decisions for you on a healthcare basis, sometimes it can take a long time to get somebody appointed by the court. It's much easier if you use these tools to appoint somebody yourself. Even things like do not resuscitate orders and organ and tissue donation can be part of your estate plan. I'll tell you, my mother and I have had a lot of conversations about these types of advanced directives because she had to go through the experience of watching her mother, my grandmother, go through a very bad hospital stay that lasted about 10 months and ended in her passing, unfortunately. During that time, the lack of any kind of medical directive put a lot of undue pressure on the family. It's difficult to be put in a situation where a loved one is experiencing potentially the end of their life, and all the decisions suddenly have to be made at a time when you're having to process this emotional reality of potentially losing somebody very close to you. That's why you'll hear a lot of people talk about how estate planning is an act of love, right? It's preparing your family for a time when they're going to need you, but you're not going to be there. And having these orders and advanced directives on file is going to take a lot of that pressure off of your family and potentially even save some relationships. Making your family decide what your medical care looks like adds tremendous stress to an already volatile situation and opens the door for trauma, blame, and guilt. Now, obviously, none of us want that for our families, especially when we're not in a position to be able to come in and do anything about it. That's why it's important to do something about it now through your estate plan. These types of estate planning tools are needed by everybody and are typically pretty inexpensive. I've seen advanced medical directives that are less than $100 to create. And that's a pretty good investment considering all the things that could go wrong if you don't have an advanced medical directive in your arsenal. And that kind of leads into my next point. A lot of people think that estate planning is very, very, very expensive. And I can tell you that sometimes it is. But a good rule of thumb is that estate plan costs are in line with your estate plan needs. And if you don't have a lot of assets and you don't have a lot of estate planning needs, then that cost is typically going to be pretty low. Now, a good place to start with understanding what your estate planning needs are is with an estate planning attorney, who oftentimes have low to no cost initial consultations to help you understand which documents you need. Another good option is to talk to a financial planner, specifically a certified financial planner, because they are equipped to be able to give you a lay of the land and help you anticipate some of those estate planning needs. Now, little caveat here, going to a financial planner is going to be a good first step on a journey that ends in going to an estate planner, okay? A financial advisor is never going to be able to sign off on an estate plan and say that it's sufficient. The biggest thing that we can do as financial planners is help you understand what you might need, where you might need to go, and what that might end up looking like. So what's the key takeaway here? Well, you are going to feel the urge to avoid doing any estate planning because no one wants to face their own mortality, and they especially don't want to pay a fee in order to face their own mortality. It's a difficult time, and it's a difficult thing, but lots of things that are necessary are. It's going to be tempting to tell yourself stories like, hey, it's too expensive, or I don't have enough assets to be able to have an estate plan. But having lost several people in my life that didn't have estate plans, I can tell you from my heart that this is a really important topic. If you're looking for a good place to invest, investing in your estate plan and investing in yourself can pay emotional dividends for the people in your life for years to come. But the most important thing you can do with an estate plan, and the most important place to start, is completely free. And that's having a conversation with people important in your life about what your wishes are and what their wishes are. And I would encourage people, again, from my heart, it's not something that you should avoid. It's not something that you should tell yourself stories about why you don't need it or why you can't get it. And as always, if you don't know where to start with NewMaker. We're happy to have a conversation with you about what you might need and help you unwind some of these estate planning topics. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.